Hey, I'm Christian. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So I wanted to start off my Booktube channel with the Booktube Newbie Tag. But before I did, I guess I should have some explanation. So typically booktubers do their videos in their house in front of really pretty bookshelves. I'm a mom, so I have a very busy, rambunctious kid at my house. So that you're able to understand anything I'm saying without, ma in the background, I've decided to leave my house and leave all of my books, well, most of my books, you'll see in a minute, and venture out into the world. Plus, I tried to do this video last night in the quiet of my own house at like 1 in the morning, and it was just super awkward and weird sitting there with nothing going on around me and dead silent, and it just made me feel really odd and I didn't like it. So I'm trying it out in the dynamic moving world. It's already a little bit less uncomfortable. So I'm gonna start off doing the Booktube Newbie Tag. I have some notes over here beside me, so if you see me looking over, it's not that I'm trying to be rude or ignore you. I'm just helping my aging brain. Okay, so I want to start off. I've been thinking about starting a booktube channel for a while, but I'm a very introverted person. Being in front of the camera is not really my thing. So I've been watching YouTube for some motivation over the last week or so, and I wanted to give a shout out to 2 channels in particular that I found to be really inspiring and helpful. Mark from Book Time with Elvis, he has a really encouraging, really sweet video that I found to really help me and put everything into perspective for me. I will link his channel and that video in the description in case you're also looking for motivation. I think that one will really help. Also, Maggie's Books and Stuff. She was also really encouraging, and she gives more practical techie advice. So watch Mark for self-esteem building and watch Maggie for more techie, what your backdrop, even though I'm breaking every single one of her suggestions, what backdrops you should maybe consider using in your house, and just other little things like that. I'll definitely link her also, so check out both of those out. All right, on to business. I've just joined TikTok. I avoided it for a long time because I think a lot older than the typical demographic of TikTok, but I took a chance, and I really like the book talk scene. People make really funny memes that just it's and they talk about books they love, and everybody's just so enthusiastic, and I want to get in on that. I'm typically very introverted. This is way outside of my comfort zone. I was always the kid when you had to stand up in class and introduce yourself or do presentations, or it was not my thing. It's still not my thing as a grown-up. I don't like it. But because of my introvertedness, I don't typically make a lot of friends, which is, this is not a pity me thing. I enjoy my life by myself with, my kid and my partner, and he and I just, we vibe. And I vibe with my daughter, so I don't really need a lot of outside things, outside stimulation. Believe me, my daughter keeps me busy enough. But I do enjoy, I've found in the last little bit being on TikTok, I enjoy interacting with people about books. I enjoy seeing what other people are reading, even if it's not something that I would read. I love the enthusiasm for reading that TikTok and the internet and all of social media has kicked up. Social media gets there's a lot of downsides to social media, but there's also really good things about it too. People can get together and have discussions about why they like things and why they don't like things, and I want to get in on those discussions, and I want to meet people, and it gives me a chance to interact with people and to talk to people, and I don't have to leave my house. which is huge for an introverted person. I love it. I love the idea. So, yeah, that's my big motivation. Plus, I think it'll help me get more comfortable with putting myself out there, and I think it'll be good all the way around. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I've always loved reading, but probably most booktubers and book talkers and all those things have always loved reading. But I do also beta read on the side. I have a beta reading service on Fiverr, 5-star rated. I also do some freelance editing on the side for a nonprofit organization, and I really enjoy that. So I do think that I can look at stories more critically and really analyze how things are working and how things aren't working and why not. And so I guess more looking at it critically would be a unique thing. I don't know if necessarily people think that's fun. I think it's fun. It's fun to see writers exploiting different techniques to just make us love somebody or make us hate somebody, or love two people together or hate two people together. And it's really worthwhile to know how to use those things. And I love when I see writing done really, really, really well. It's very exciting. And I mean, it's exciting for other people, which is why Booktube and Book Talk and all those things have taken off, because people love a good story, and they love people who can make them love characters and even make them hate characters. I'm really excited about the possibility of doing buddy reads. Those look really fun. Readathons, I would love to be able to do. I don't know how that, I work full time and then I do that stuff on the side I was talking about, and I'm raising a little human. So I don't know if I'd be able to do like a 24-hour one, but I could maybe try to figure that out. I'd really like to do that, because I think it would be interesting to read a book and then stop and put my thoughts on camera and on film and be like, oh, that's what I was thinking, especially if it's like a mystery or a love story and you're really into something, and then you hit a certain chapter and it's like, oh, I was totally wrong. It would be interesting to watch the journey. So I'm really excited to just have a community of people and build friendships and do things like I see other people doing, the buddy reads and the readathons and probably a bunch of other things that go on that I don't even know exist. I'd love to do all of those things. I think for everybody it's just a way to escape, and everybody needs that to escape from our normal everyday mundane lives. But I grew up in a very small place that I've since moved away from. But it was very small. It was only a couple thousand people, and I think at least most of the people that I knew that were my age that I went to school with, we just weren't interested in the same things. I felt very different from everyone else, which, I mean, maybe everybody does when you're a teenager. Some people are just better at hiding it, but I felt very different from everyone. Like I didn't feel like reading and that kind of thing was really on anybody's top 3 favorite things to do. It was more like partying and drinking, and that was just never my scene. And so I did find things whenever YouTube and at that time it was different social media, but the social media that I had access to, I did find other people from other places that lived totally different lives than me, who had access to totally different things. Like, art wasn't, anything artistic wasn't seen as a proper potential career path where I grew up. You were pretty much either going to be a nurse or a factory worker, anything like that. And that just was not me. And I think having access to different books and different characters and being able to interact with other people who loved those books and those characters, and I was able to find out about those things through social media at the time. Primarily, I love reading because it has introduced me to things that I will never personally experience. But in a way, I feel like I have experienced them because I've read about them, if that makes sense. You know, like I was growing up in this very small little town, but I could read about people who went on, you know, heists, and people who had magic, and people who were vampires or werewolves, or you know, even the things that we read in school I tended to enjoy. You know, even the Victorian literature I liked because it was totally separate and apart from me and my life. And so reading is important, I think, because it opens your mind to things and experiences that you will never be able to actually live, but you can still experience them. And I think we can all find common ground in reading. The first book that I ever remember was, I was in kindergarten, and I remember the teacher reading it to us, and I actually have it because I bought it recently because I got very nostalgic. It's Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. This is what it looks like. And if you haven't read it, I recommend it. I don't even, looking back now, I can only really think of one reason why I love that book so much, and why of all the books that were read to me growing up, that's the one that like really excited me about reading on my own. I think it's because typically kids' books, children's books, are either fantastical, which is good. Kids, you know, they need to broaden their imaginations and all. I'm fully for it. Or they're very flowery. Everything is great. Everything is wonderful, which again, I support it. Kids need it. But I think I really enjoyed that book in particular because it's about a little boy. Spoiler alert. It's about a little boy, and he just has the worst, suckiest day of his life. Everything that possibly can go wrong goes wrong that day. And it's just him feeling sorry for himself and just kind of living in a funk for that day. And I guess maybe it says a lot about my personality that I love that book, but it felt real to me. You know, it wasn't about dragons and princesses and, you know, that kind of thing. It was a real day in the life of a little boy that was just awful. And I think as much as kids need the imaginative, flowery things, kids need those books too. They just see them and say, yep, you know what, little Timmy, Tommy, whatever, I see you. You're having an awful day. It's okay. It happens to all of us. We get it. And I think that's why I like that book. And, you know, it's funny, I didn't really sit back and think about why did I like that book as a little kid until I got ready to make my channel and make this video. So I guess that's already proving that this channel, doing this whole thing, is going to be a really good way to make me think about writing and make me think about books and why I like things and why I don't like things. So it's already working. So it started with Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day, which is also one of my favorite titles. It's awesome. And then as I grew older, as an older teenager, this huge pop culture phenomenon happened. You've probably heard of it. You know, and everybody around my age now tries to pretend like, oh, those are super cringy. I wasn't one of those people. I didn't read those books. I did not have an Edward Cullen or Jacob phase. And I'm sure that there are a few people who didn't, I'm sure. So, you know, don't feel like you need to put in the comments, I did not. Okay, I see you, I hear you. But the majority of us, people around my age, and a little bit younger and a little bit older, and I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but, you know, you can probably guess that I was an older teenager when Twilight came out. We loved the damn books, okay? Just admit it. You loved it. I loved it. I bought the damn books. I loved the damn books. I was an Edward girl, even though, you know, Jacob was okay. But I didn't hate it. But I was definitely an Edward Cullen girl. I love, and I still love, the tortured soul. You know, I still do. That and Bad Boys. It's probably, you know, I thought I'd grow out of it. I think I'm gonna die with those two weaknesses. But that's okay. There are worse ones, you know. So I get Twilight definitely got me back into reading. So that's, yeah, those are the two. And then, you know, Phantom Tollbooth. Whenever I was, you know, like middle grade books, Phantom Tollbooth, Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, the Harry Potters, of course. I love the Harry Potter books also. I still do. The Deathly Hallows is my favorite. So yeah, I think that finishes that question. And then I added my own at the end because it just made sense and it wasn't included. Was, what kind of books do you read now? So pretty much everything except horror. Just because it's not that I dislike it, but just the couple that I've tried, I just did not find particularly scary or creepy. It's the same way with horror movies. I'll watch them, but I don't find them to be particularly scary. Maybe I'm just not reading the right ones. If you have one that you'd like to suggest that you think will thoroughly freak me out, put it in the comments. So what do I read now? My favorite book ever of all time, right now, could change because you never know, is The Lover by Marguerite Duras. I hope I'm saying her name right. She's French. I don't speak French. I think it's Duras. It's spelled D-U-R-A-S, in case you want to look her up. I've actually just gone to Barnes & Noble and bought another book by her because I've never read anything else by her. So I've just bought The Ravishing of Lowell Stein. And I also bought so that gives you a little bit of information on what I like. Being out in the wild, I think has been really good for me. I mean, if you know, everybody doesn't absolutely hate this, I might do it this way because it's so much better than sitting in the dark in my house whispering like this and feeling super weird. So I thought that maybe being in front of the camera was going to be a huge challenge, but this seems okay. You know, we'll see what happens. And then the other one that I thought about was Time, maybe, because, you know, I have unfortunately grown up responsibilities. But I mean, you know, I'm probably not going to be a 2-3 video a week person, but I mean, I think I can definitely do 1 video a week, maybe 2, depending on the week. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, I've, you know, overcome harder challenges in my life and figured out harder things. So those are some small ones that I think, but really I think everything else is, it'll just come with time and I'll figure it out. And maybe if I have a nice community of people, which I really hope that I do, you guys can help me figure it out if you're also booktubers. And coming first full circle, if you're not a booktuber and you want to be a booktuber, click on those links that I'm going to put down there and maybe you'll be encouraged to become one. And if you do and you send me your link down there, I will watch it and probably follow. So, you know, no time like the present. Yeah, so I want to meet people. I want to take part in all the booktube things. So if you are interested in what I'm going to come up with, if you identified with anything that I said in this video, leave a comment, subscribe, and yeah, I hope to meet some people and build up a community and interact. Thanks for watching. Bye.